Welcome to the Perfectionist Guide to Mothering. I'm Andrea Fortenberry, and I'm here to help you break up with perfectionism, unrealistic expectations, and mom guilt to enjoy motherhood and love this one and only beautiful life God has given you. In these episodes, we will be real, vulnerable, and have fun too. My hope is that you will walk away encouraged and equipped for the hard and amazing work of motherhood. Welcome to episode 150 of the Perfectionist Guide to Mothering. Today I have the privilege of chatting with Melissa Schulz. She is a parenting coach and behavior analyst who helps parents of strong-willed, highly sensitive, and neurodiverse kids turn daily struggles into calmer, more connected moments. Love that. She has been recognized as the best parenting coach in the United States for 2025 by Evergreen Awards, which is so awesome. Melissa, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, I love the work that you do because, parenting in general is difficult. But when we have different nuances in our kids, like being strong-willed or highly sensitive, neurodiverse, it just adds extra layers to our
Yes.
already big role of being a parent. So I love that you're going to speak into that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, what I notice most about these like personality types, so it's my just passion to serve these kids and their moms, and I've been doing it for 20 years, is it's like great kids. They just have a different, their brain works a little differently, their personality is a little different, really great parents, but it's just so many behaviors come up
Yeah.
that the parents, it just tends to steal the joy from parenting and from each phase because we as parents get so overwhelmed and stressed out by all the behaviors, and so we like are just kind of walking on eggshells trying to get through the day. There is hard moments in everyone's house. I have two neurodiverse and one really strong-willed kid in my house, so we're very busy here with lots of behaviors, right? But I think yeah, just finding the joy again, right? Having the hard moments, moving past them and not like staying stuck on them, and then like going back to just discovering all the joy and connection that's available, even with our kids that have higher behavioral challenges.
Yeah, I love that because, like you said, it's really easy to get overwhelmed or to take
Yes.
it personally. My daughter, when she was younger, was very strong-willed. And so I would be like,
Hmm.
what am I doing wrong that she is not
Exactly.
listening? That kind of thing. And
Yes.
so it's just really helpful to understand, like, sometimes it's not necessarily what we're doing. It's just the way our kiddos are wired, and we get to figure out some strategies of how to do
Yeah. Well, and that's
that.
why I loved like your podcast, and I'm really excited to be here because I think a lot of us have those, I do tend to work with other like high achieving women,
Mhm.
and we have those perfectionistic tendencies. I'm like a recovering perfectionist. I've come a long way, but I'm still definitely working on it.
Yeah.
And so I think like we can get away with that for a long time in our life, and maybe even our first kid like is pretty chill. And so then we feel like, yes, we're a great mom. I'm getting like an A plus, and then that kid comes along who's like totally different, and like nothing that we're doing is working. And especially when we struggle with perfectionism, it's like we do take it personally, we feel like it's our fault. And so many moms I talk to just carry so much shame and guilt around their child's behavior. And it just like, I know that's not from God or what he wants from us,
Mhm.
right? It really is like, no, you're a great mom and you have a kid that's a little trickier. And yeah, the normal parenting stuff isn't working for your kid, and that's okay. Great kid, great mom. You just need the right tools for your unique kid's brain. And so I think when moms really realize that it just changes everything,
Yeah.
right? It's so much lighter. You don't have to do it perfectly, right?
Right.
It's like embracing the messy chaos of, some of our high needs kids who are like wonderful and exactly how God made them. And
Yeah.
like I think that God has used my challenging kids to grow me so much into the woman that I know he wants me to be. And
Right.
so I'm like, I'm learning here, right? I'm not just going to blame myself.
Yeah. Oh, so good. And I love, again, that you are speaking into this because, yeah, I think we just kind of look for answers in general places, but when our kiddos
Yeah.
have different needs, we need to have tools for those specific areas. So I
Yes.
love the work that you're doing. So thank
Yeah,
you
thank you. I love it too.
for that. So let's chat about what are some of the most common struggles parents face who have the strong-willed or the sensitive kiddo?
Yeah. So very common things I'm asked about is like my kid doesn't listen. It's maybe like one of the biggest ones, right? Like I tell them to do stuff, I have to repeat myself 10 times, and then I end up yelling, and then they only do it when I yell. That's maybe one of the most common things I get from like really good parents. One couple I was a client I worked with a while ago. They were the sweetest like couple from the Midwest. West. They were so cute and sweet and just like in love and great. But then they were describing their morning routine with their daughter with ADHD, and it would like end up basically like they're cursing at the end of the morning. And I can't
Mhm.
even imagine. They were just the cutest little people. I couldn't even imagine, you know, that. But and they
Yeah.
would like feel terrible after, but they would get so frustrated. So like morning routines for sure. Another one, bedtimes are a
Mhm.
struggle often for these kids. Sometimes just transitions in general can be a
Right.
struggle. Something that kind of unifies the kids that I focus on, like the strong-willed, very sensitive, and neurodiverse, which is like ADHD and autism and things
Mhm.
like that, is they tend to have really big feelings.
Mhm.
And they don't know how to like the feelings are much bigger than another kid, which you know you didn't pick and they didn't pick. It's just it is.
How it is, right?
And that's just how it is, right? It's no one's fault. But since the feelings are so much bigger, they come up often, and it's just much harder for them to know how to regulate it.
Mhm.
And then it's harder for us too, especially when our brain's telling us that it's our fault or we're doing something wrong, that it's even happening. So then
Right.
it's like a double problem. Now we're both kind of spiraling in our own unique issues.
Right. Our own feelings. Yeah. And I'm grateful that in this generation, we are able to talk with kids about feelings and
Yes.
identifying feelings because sometimes, I mean, even for us as adults, sometimes we're bothered or upset and we don't know exactly why. But when we like whittle it down or can verbalize
Yes.
it, like, actually, I haven't had lunch yet, or you
Yeah,
know what, someone hurt
exactly.
my feelings. And so I'm bringing that with just understanding
Totally.
how things affect us and our feelings is, I think, really important for both us as parents and for our kiddos
Yes,
too.
yeah. And so what I find, I know like personally, I had great parents. Like I know they did the very best they could. I had a good childhood. But also it was definitely like in my family, and I think in the culture a lot for my generation was it was more like the toxic positivity,
Mm,
right? It was like parents just felt like what they were supposed to do is teach us to be happy and grateful. And I love gratitude. That is one of a really important value of mine. But the way now they know that all of us kids that were kind of taught, if you have a negative, if you're really upset, you just need to think about the positive and don't be upset, right? Or just go
right.
away if you're crying because that hurts my ears. And unintentionally, that kind of raised a generation that we have learned. So many parents now have learned that like negative emotions are bad and you shouldn't have them at all. So we learned to get really good at shoving them down and stuffing them.
Mhm.
And then we have really high rates of anxiety and depression and addiction because those feelings come out, right?
Right.
You cannot stuff them down very long. And so now I think parents are much more aware of this and aware of the importance of teaching kids about feelings, that feelings are actually okay and part of being human.
Right.
But so many parents are trying to teach that to their kids and they don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like I had to learn as an adult how to like would recognize I was feeling a feeling. Like I had
Right.
really shut it down so well to be like a really good high achieving girl, right? That I was just like, look happy no matter how you're feeling. And I have gotten to do a lot of hard, beautiful work as an adult to be able to like, oh, I am feeling this feeling and I don't like feeling it, but it's okay that it's there. And then now I get to teach that to my kids, which is I think is one of the best gifts because my kids are going to grow up at least knowing that their feelings are normal and okay and knowing what to do with them. They're not going to
Right.
have to do the work I've had to do to learn that as an adult. My grandkids are going to have parents that already know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things I'm really passionate about, just like kind of spreading with all parents.
Yeah, it's so helpful. And really that's the goal of like each generation to get better, you know? And so
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's a silver lining there of like having
Yes.
to learn it ourselves and pay
Yes,
it forward. So,
exactly.
yeah. Melissa, what are some big misconceptions that parents have about behavior problems with either their strong-willed, sensitive, or the neurodiverse kiddos?
I think one of the biggest ones is that like a lot of parents will say like, well, he shouldn't be doing this. She
Mm,
shouldn't be doing this. I have to like stop them from doing this. And often it's like that's already kind of a thought error. Right? Anytime there's a should,
right.
like that, then we're just like fighting reality. Like, yeah, like ideally my kid is not hitting me in the face, but like actually that's happening right now. So either I can be in denial and fight that, or I could be like, why is this happening? How do
Right.
I solve it? Right. So I think that's one is we just like really fight with reality. And then we feel like we have to like punish it. Like if only we were firm enough, or like there's like a kind of a vibe of like, I just can't allow this to happen that can turn into really negative, punishing consequences that don't actually teach your kid anything and don't. So maybe the behavior stops because they're scared of you, but not because they know how to cope with those emotions in a healthy way. And so again, it's just like kind of like in some ways we're the blind leading the blind, trying to teach kids how to handle emotions when we don't know. So
Right.
I think that's one of them. Another one, especially for my like high achieving perfectionist people, is like that somehow it's our fault,
Mhm.
right? That like almost like our kids' behavior is a reflection on us, like a report, our parenting report card.
Mhm.
And if our kids are behaving, especially in public or they're at church or the right places, then we get an A plus, and that their behavior is like a direct reflection on us as a mom. And so I remember a while ago we moved, so we were starting at a new church, and we had just kind of going through like the welcome classes and getting to know the pastors and trying to like put down roots there. And so I had volunteered to do a training for the staff on how to manage behaviors in the kid ministry, and I was actually scheduled for the next day. And so I had been emailing back and forth with the children's director. And then so that was gonna be Monday. So Sunday we go to church, and after church, that same director comes up and is like, "Oh, are you so and so's mom?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then she told me that there was a group of kids booing at a song that they were playing, and my kid was one of them, right? And so, I mean, it still took a little work. But, for a lot of parents, especially if your kid acts up at church, it's like, oh, now they're judging me, right?
Right.
Now God's mad at me. Now our brains do a lot of weird things when that happens. And I know a lot of families that don't go to church because they've maybe felt it maybe really were being judged for their child's behavior, or
Mhm.
maybe it just felt like that because it's so
Mhm.
sensitive. So they don't even participate in church, or they have a hard time getting
Right.
their kid to school. And so thankfully I'm like, this is not a reflection on me, right? And like I can make sure he never does that again. And he didn't. But yeah, kids are gonna be imperfect kids everywhere, and it's not a reflection on me. But what can I do in that situation? Right? I can address it in a way that will make sense for him so it doesn't keep happening.
I like to say that in parenting, we can only get partial credit, good or bad,
Yes, yeah,
for
exactly.
for how our kids behave. Because yes,
Totally.
we have influence over them, but we
Yes.
can't control
You
them.
can't
Like they have
control
their
any other
own,
person.
right, they have their own free will and their own,
Yes.
again, feelings, and they're at a different place of maturity. So
Yeah.
we can speak into it, we can influence, but at the end of
Yes.
the day, it's up to them. And
Yeah.
so whether
Yeah.
it's something good, and we, like you're saying, when they're behaving so well and everything, we're like, oh, look at, my well-behaved
Right.
kids, and we like get the credit for it. But then when they're misbehaving, then we're like feeling all the shame because we feel like we get all the credit for it. And
Exactly.
it's only partial for all of it.
And that roller coaster sucks away so much energy that like we don't have because we actually just need to keep up with this kid. Yeah. So
Right.
I still like to have a report card, but I like will like analyze without judgment like how I responded because that I can control, right?
Right.
So it's not like did my kid act perfectly in a social situation because they don't. But it's like do I love how I responded? Right? Did I stay calm and curious and compassionate? Right? Did I respond effectively for that kid in the way that they need to learn, that I'm teaching them better behavior so that won't keep happening? Like that's kind of what my grade is, the things that are
Yeah.
in my control.
That's so good. And often I think as parents, it's easy to react, like we raise
Yes,
our voice, or like we just let
totally.
our feelings get the best of us. We yell, what have you. But
Yeah.
I've learned that just that power of the pause, right? And just like take a
Hmm.
deep breath, like
Yes.
think about what I want to come out of my mouth. And
Yeah.
it's something we have to just practice. And we're not
Yes.
always going to get it right. Like you said, it's just
Totally.
trying our best to improve over
Yeah. Yeah.
time is the goal.
And like it's kind of like a C is passing too. You know what
Yes,
I mean? Like I
yes,
don't have to be all A's on this report card.
yes,
C is passing.
yes.
But yeah, it's like that pause. So often we just go right into fight or flight when our kid is
Mhm.
acting up. When you're in fight or flight, your body is preparing. It's like it's perceiving a threat to your survival. Often now our nervous systems get so oversensitized that like it used to be, if there's actually a bear, you go into fight or flight, right? The blood leaves
Right.
your brain because you don't need to think logically to defeat a bear. It goes into your limbs. So now you're like ready to run or fight, which is so helpful when the bear was the thing, right?
Right.
But now our nervous systems are so oversensitized from chronic stress that most parents are under that we get sent into fight or flight when our kid won't put their shoe on right away.
Mhm.
And so then again, like now we have no, like the blood leaves our brain. So we can't even remember that plan that book or that reel told us to do in that moment because we're not using our logic centers. And then we're like wired, our legs and arms are ready to fight. And that's why we do have that yelling often. That's like it's more of a natural instinct. So some of it is like, yes, you can control it, but also some of it is like you can't help it in the moment once you're there. All you can do is regulate. It's like a lot of the pre-work of like, how do I not
Mhm.
get so triggered? But instead we get triggered and then then when all the adrenaline wears off, now we like blame ourselves and beat ourselves up about it, which then adds even now it's even more of like a fight or flight next time because not only is this terrible thing happening, but then I'm gonna beat myself up after. So we
Right.
get stuck in a really sad cycle.
Yeah. So would love to hear what are some things we can do, maybe small things that are really powerful over time that can help us to feel more calm and more
Yes.
capable as we navigate maybe some of those, unexpected things or when we feel like we're gonna lose our temper a little bit. What can we do instead?
Yeah, so in the moment, like I'm all about the pause, right? Like taking a deep breath, saying a quick prayer, right? And maybe even taking a break or walking away if you need to, like permission to do that if you'll be able to come back better. I think honestly, most of it though, like comes beforehand. It just has to be a lot more proactive. And so what the work I'll do with my clients is like we'll talk about like what behavior is driving you the most crazy, right? Like let's dig into it. And then let's figure out all the reasons why it's bothering you. Because often we have common things that bother us, but like it's for different reasons. So what we'll do is we'll dig into all the reasons why that's bothering you. And then we'll work on just having a different perspective on that behavior, right? So sometimes people come in and they're like, oh my gosh, my kid should be able to get themselves dressed and they're choosing not to, right? And now I can't get ready and we're going to be late. And then if we're late, I have to do that walk of shame to the school office where everyone's going to see that we're late to get the tardy slip, right? So it's like this whole thing. And then, of course, the parent's frustrated. But like, you can't change or control your kid, but you can change your perspective. So, what I believe about my kids that also do this, right, is like, hey, they're doing their best. I can be sad that this is the best they have when they're melting down, but also this is the best they got right now. So, how can I help them? What do they need in this moment? What level of support do they need? And I do a lot of like even like it's okay if we're late. It's
Yeah.
fine. Some parents get so like, they sign their kid up for this class and they're paying all this money for gymnastics and then they're so stressed out about getting to gymnastics. I'm like, hey, you work for me. Like it's a
Right.
joke, right? I'm paying for this. Of course I want to be on time. If we're often late, then I need to start we often have like a meltdown window, like a meltdown cushion, where we just get ready for everything 20 minutes earlier than we need to because
Yeah.
often my kids will melt down. So now we're not late. I don't have to worry about that. But in the moment, I can stress out and then keep escalating everyone and we'll probably be more late if I just relax and
Right.
accept we might be late. Often we're like still on time.
Yeah, because something happens, right? Someone forgets their
Yeah,
water or
right.
there's
Yeah,
construction or something. So margin
yeah.
is a great piece of
Margin is the
advice.
best. Yes.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's so helpful. Would you share maybe about a time when you felt overwhelmed as a mom and what helped you through that?
Yes. Yeah. I do a lot of work on this. Like as a mom of three high needs kids, like I really prioritize getting my mind straight and being able to stay calm, like taking care of myself, like getting good sleep. Like that's one thing we don't sleep and then we wonder why we're cranky, right? So I'm like really happy to say I do get overwhelmed sometimes, but it's less. When I do get overwhelmed, it's usually because I'm really tired. Like maybe I haven't,
Yeah.
I've like overdone it. I didn't save enough energy for them at the end of the day. So I work on that. And it's often when all three of them are like upset at once because there's only one of me, right? There was one
Right.
time where, let's see, my oldest had a friend over and they were just chilling on the couch, but there was like another person in our house. And then my middle kid was melting down because my youngest was melting down. And when he melts down, he screams and yells so loud. He's 5 now, he was probably 3 at the time. And my middle kid is very sound sensitive and easily overwhelmed. So when he is letting all his feelings loose, it's very triggering to my middle kid. And so I have these two kids both screaming at the top of their lungs, and then two boys that are just like kind of chilling, trying to watch TV, thankfully, just like kind of ignoring us. And it was like literally in that moment feeling very overwhelmed, like it's loud, it's everything. I'm trying to protect this one, but like I
Right.
know what each of them need, and they both need me one on one. And my husband wasn't home. So in that moment, I did take a deep breath. I said a prayer. I'm like, okay, I got this, right? And then I just like triaged it. I'm like, okay, if I take care of the little one and get him to bed, because that's why he's screaming,
Mhm.
then the sound will stop and then it'll be easier to calm this one down.
Yeah.
So it was hard. It's never ideal, but I had to leave one just melting down by themselves. Took the little one, did a very quick bedtime, fell asleep immediately, then came back. And by then the middle one had done some self-soothing and I was able to give that one just like a lot of extra love. But now the noise was gone, so that one was okay. So that was
Yeah.
very overwhelming. But I really liked how I handled it. I'm like,
Yeah.
was that ideal? No, I do not want to be in that situation again. But also, that was what was happening. There's one of me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so just important in those moments of overwhelm as moms to think,
Yeah.
okay, what's my next right thing?
Yes.
Like, yes, the ideal would be that I would have help and that like everybody
Yeah,
could be
there's
calm at
two
one
copies
time.
of me everywhere, right? One
Yes.
copy of me is entertaining the older boy so the friend has fun. Yeah,
Right.
ideally. It's just
But
not.
yeah, we don't live in the ideal all the time. And so just
Yeah.
thinking about, okay, what would be the most helpful next thing I could do and
Yes.
then focus on that. So that's a great
Yeah.
strategy. Love that.
Yeah. I have another example. This is one of the ones I'm
Okay, yeah.
most proud of. So, one of my kids for a while had this behavior. It was very triggering for me. Like, for some reason, this one really got under my skin. And so, part of it was like, part of the behavior was like this kid being glued to my side, repeating over and over that they're upset basically, and then taking no suggestions. And I think I wouldn't work. So it was just like repeating. And so I think that like for me was really triggering because like if there's a problem, I'm a fixer, right?
Mhm.
So fix it. And then I kind of get mad if you're choosing not to fix it, even though I think in that moment, this child couldn't, emotionally couldn't. So I worked a lot on not being so triggered by this because it was just like, oh, this one, punch me in the face instead. Like I've worked with those kids before. That's easier. This, for some reason, was really like bothering me. So I did a lot of like just work and prayer on it outside of these times. And then I don't know what happened. There was this 3 day period where this child did this for 3 days straight. Wake up to bedtime.
Wow.
And I had done the work and I was using all the strategies I had and I like felt really good with how I was responding, even though it wasn't going away. It was like I'm handling this in the best way. Third day, the fourth morning, I wake up and I'm like, okay, we're done with this, right? And it happened immediately again. And then my husband had made me some oatmeal because he's the best. And this same kid ate the oatmeal, ate it before I could eat, and I was so hungry,
Oh.
right? And then I had this, I don't like coffee, but I drink this other little caffeine drink in the morning I look forward to. And so I remember I was like turning around to do something, and that same kid that was driving me crazy runs up to give me a big hug. So sweet. Drink spills everywhere. And I was like, I just put the drink down. And I was like, Brian, can you please clean this up? Like very quiet. Like when I get quiet, it's like when it's scary, right? And I like went to my room and locked the door and like burst into tears and cried for a while. And so I'm like, that was actually, I was so proud of myself for how I lost it. Because like
Yeah.
that was like increasing my capacity to be able to handle the behavior that my kid needed to get
Right.
out for like a really long time. Right. That was like big growth for me. And then even when I hit my limit, which I definitely did, like I was like, I didn't take it out on the kids because
Yeah.
ultimately it's not that kid's fault.
Yeah.
And like God had a good cry, which is good for all of us. And it didn't take it out on anyone else. And so, yeah. And honestly, that was the last time that actually ended it. The
Wow.
behavior stopped. It was like they just needed to get it all out. And then
Yeah.
it was like a big breakthrough for them as well.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes our kids just need us and just need our presence, just need like the peace
Yes.
that we can offer. And so even when on the inside we don't feel it,
Exactly.
like you said, we choosing our response. And then yeah, if we
Yes.
need to privately go self-regulate, that can be
Yeah.
be really helpful
Exactly.
and like a normal thing. I remember
Right.
as a young mom, with toddlers and a strong-willed one, just like feeling bad that I needed a break or that I
Yeah.
needed to go cry in the closet. But then I
Totally.
learned like this is actually normal and healthy to
It is. Yeah.
to do
That's a
that.
common question I get. Is it okay to like leave them if I need a break? I'm like, yes, if they're safe. Or even if you are at the end of your rope and you got to put them in a crib or something, even if they're
Mhm.
crying, they're safe. Take care of yourself and then you're going to be much better able to take care of them than both of you crying together and working each other up. So yeah, like
Right.
we are not robots. We are not perfect. We are doing our best and real life is messy.
Yes.
And yeah, it's beautiful. There's beauty
Yes.
in the mess.
Yes, for sure. I remembered what I was going to say from earlier because
Yeah.
we were talking about just that trigger of like running late and
Hmm.
how that can bring up a lot of things. I think especially for perfectionist moms because we like
Yes.
to be like this, neat put
Yeah.
together person who shows up on time and
Totally.
all of that. And that was a trigger for me for sure of running late. And
Mhm.
when I really thought about it, like why
Mhm.
does this bother me so
Yes.
much? Part of it was just growing up, that was a family thing.
Hmm.
My dad was in the military and we were
Oh,
on
yeah.
time. And so I
Yeah.
just felt like I wasn't living up to the
Yeah.
way I was brought up, kind of. So that was
Yeah.
part of it. And then
Yeah.
the other thing was just feeling the judgment of other people. Like you said, when
Yep.
you walk into the school to
Yep.
get the tardy slip, or you're walking in late to gymnastics, it's like, oh, what is everyone thinking of me?
Right.
And in reality, yes, people may make an assumption or like
Yeah.
a small judgment, but really at the end of the day, who cares? Like
Yeah.
everyone in the whole world
Right.
runs late sometimes, even when being
Totally.
punctual is a value, like things happen. And so just
Yeah.
realizing, even if someone thinks that, they probably also aren't thinking about me as much as I think
A
they
hundred
are.
percent. Yeah. Yeah. But also what I have found is the people that are most judgmental of other people are even more judgmental of themselves.
True. Yeah.
And so I'm like, yeah, this is me, imperfect, right? I think a lot of people, like when they meet me in real life, are like scared I'm gonna like judge their parenting. And I'm like, oh no, I'm just worrying about my own kids. Like, I'm not working right now. I don't, that's not fun. Like, no,
Yeah.
like I know deeply how hard it is. I'm gonna be the last person to judge anyone, but I also don't judge myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm very kind and compassionate to myself with all my mistakes. And so I find that like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that person is judging me. And maybe they say something, maybe they don't. But
Mhm.
I'm like, I'm just like, I'm sad, more sad for them. Like, that's okay if
Yeah.
you think that about me. I can't, what you think about me is none of my business. And that just, if you are going to judge another parent, I just feel sad because I know that you're being so hard on yourself.
Oh, that's such a good point. Such a good point. Another thing that I found helpful too was just coming up with a little phrase I could say that would
Mhm.
help me in the moment. And my mom is actually the one who helped me, like when I had,
Yes,
yeah, 2 and 3-year-old, just if they're acting up at the store to just be like, you know what, they're two, to the someone look,
totally.
passing you by, looking at you, just like, they're two, or you know
Yeah,
what, we're working on this. Like just
I
having that
like
little
that. Yeah,
phrase like in my back
right.
pocket was helpful
Yeah.
because like I felt like it kind of just
It like
reduce
diffuses
the
it a
judgment.
little.
Yeah, exactly. Just like,
Yeah.
let's just address this. I know you might be thinking something like this is what's going on. And just,
Yeah. I think I'll say it's something like, oh, it's hard to be three. It's hard to
yeah,
be four.
exactly.
Like, yeah. Or even if someone else, this is like what I want. This is the movement I want to start. I want some kind of signal that we as moms can give each other when our kids are melting down that like suggests support, right?
Yes,
I'm like, I
yes.
don't know what it is. I think of like the Hunger Games, like, this thing from the Hunger
Yes,
Games.
yes.
I think of that. I like want to do that because yeah, I'll see
Oh.
moms with a kid melting down,
Mhm.
and I don't want to look, so I don't want them to, because then they're going to think I'm judging. But I really just like
Right.
want to like give them a hug. I'm like,
Acknowledge
I
it.
know
Maybe
how
we
hard
just
this is.
like
You're
give a
doing a
little
great
heart.
job. Yeah, like a little heart. That's a good idea. A heart, the Hunger Games. Let's start a movement. Everyone listening to this podcast. If you see another kid whose behavior is crazy, a way to send them some nonverbal love. Because I think in those moments we just assume everyone is judging us.
Mhm.
And I like to imagine that other people are like me and they're just like, oh, I've been there. Right?
Yep.
Like they're like,
I
yep, I
see
get
you.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see you.
Yep.
I've been there. That happens to all of us. Because it
Yes.
does. Why are we pretending like it doesn't?
Right. I love that. Let's start that, Melissa. We're going to
Okay,
do
okay.
it.
Starting
Love
today.
it. Well, next question is, how do you help parents really uncover the root causes of their children's behavior instead of just addressing the symptoms and reacting to those?
Yeah, that is one of the most important things that I do. And one of the biggest things that's missing from a lot of the other, there's so many, we're in an information overload these days. Like information is at our fingertips, but it's
Yeah.
really like what information is right for my kid right now. There's so many great books. Like you can Google lots of articles about all the things. There's podcasts, there's all the things, but like that more the general parenting advice usually doesn't work for these kind of kids
Mm,
because everyone's brain works differently. They're all
right.
unique, right? It's not cookie cutter people. And so I do notice that parents tend to, if they ask me a question, it's like, how do I stop this behavior usually? Or how do I get them to do this or stop doing this? And I never answer that without deeply understanding why. Because I can have three kids in front of me all like having a big tantrum and it could look the exact same, but they might each be doing it for very different reasons. They might have different learning styles, different processing, different motivation. And so if I were to treat them all the same, maybe it would work for one of them, but most likely it would work for none of them, or maybe just
Right.
one and the other two. And so I think often if we Google, like, how do I stop a tantrum? Or we ask Chat GPT, right? My kid's tantruming? It's going to give you a lot of good suggestions. And I could actually look at that list and be like, okay, for your kid, like, yes, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yes, that's terrible for your kid, but that would work great for this kid, right? It's not
Mhm.
that they're wrong. It's just not custom for the more unique kids. And so finding out the why is crucial. Like I never give someone recommendations about what to do until I know why the kid is doing it, because that changes how we respond.
Mhm. That's really helpful. Yeah. Even with kids who are neurotypical, like
Yeah,
you have two, three kids in a family, like they don't respond the same. They don't react the same.
a
They
hundred
don't, they're
percent.
not wired the same. And so just
Yes,
that principle. And also I think moms struggle with comparison a lot. And then you're in
yes,
a group of moms
totally.
and you're just like, my kids aren't doing this, or I must be not
Hmm.
doing that. And so it's just really helpful to know, you know what? Things aren't one size fits all.
You're not, yeah,
And it's good to just celebrate what other people are doing, but figure out what works well for our
yeah.
family and our kiddos.
Yeah, and yeah, so people will say, "Oh, my friend swears by this, and it worked for," or my sister, or my mom, and I'm like, "Yeah, I totally believe that worked for their kid or their
Yeah.
kids, maybe, right? Maybe they got lucky and they have easy kids, but I'm like, nope. Like for my three kids, I parent them all totally differently. So they
Mhm.
could be doing the same thing, and I'm going to respond really differently because they all work really differently. They need different things in those moments, and so, and honestly, none of the three are like how I wanted to parent. Like if I could like pick my parenting style, right?
Yeah.
But it's my job to learn what they each need in the parenting approaches that works for them. And so I like want to be the mom they need, not the mom that I thought
Mhm.
I would be.
Yeah. I
That would
have
have been different.
found, right. And I have found that sometimes in the frustration, we ask, like, why, God? Like, why is this not easy?
Yeah.
Why do I have to adjust to all these different variables and factors? And I just think the answer is just that God chose us, right, to be the
Yes.
mom to our unique kids. And so, listeners, I just hope that is an encouragement to you
Yes.
because God's so intentional about that. And because He chose us, it doesn't mean it's because we're the most qualified or have all the answers. In fact, I
Yeah.
think He equips us along the way.
Yes.
And that has been really helpful to me to just
Yeah.
have that perspective.
Yes. I like to think too, it's like God gave me these kids to help grow me into the woman he wants me to be.
Yes.
He knew I couldn't do it by myself. I'd have to rely on him, right? So he's always putting me in situations where I have to rely on him because I like to do everything myself. I'm like, I got this, God, right? No, I don't. That's another like perfectionistic tendency, right? I'll
Mhm.
help you. I'll take care of this. And he's like, oh, silly little tiny person. And also like I'm like I'm the mom that my kids need to help them become the people that he wants them to be.
Yeah, love that. It's just super encouraging to stop
Yeah.
and think about that on the good days, but also on the days that are trying and we're
Yes.
like so stretched, like really, am I the person for this?
Yeah.
And God's like, yep,
My other favorite thing, if I am feeling down on myself, is like there's nothing I can do to mess up God's plan for my kids' lives. Right? He's not like crossing his fingers. I really hope Melissa handles his tantrum right so that all of my plans in my kingdom will happen, right? I really hope, right? He's like, I'm so tiny in those eyes. Like, he's got it. There's nothing I
Yeah.
could do that is like outside of his plan or against his plan. And so
Mhm.
that gives me a lot of peace on those days where I do mess up or,
Yeah.
have to repair or don't handle something the way I wish I would. I'm like, all right, God, that's okay. Right?
Yeah.
Like, your plan will still happen. I'm not powerful enough to mess
Yes.
up his plan.
Yes. Oh, such a good reminder. And I think too that in those times where we do have the mess ups, it's like God giving us the opportunity to live out the gospel in our home
Yeah.
and talk to
Yes.
our kids about forgiveness and that moms
Totally.
moms need Jesus too. And that's why
A
we're,
hundred percent.
just yeah, we're not perfect and we rely on the Lord to help us and forgive one
Yeah.
another and love one another. So
Yeah.
fun.
When we went to Bible studies, like when my kids were littler, we would describe it as like, oh, we're going to learn about Jesus so we can be a better mommy and daddies to you. And my kids were like, you're a really good mommy already. Like,
Oh.
stay home. And we're like, okay, we need a different. I need to explain that differently. I know you're a good mommy. You don't have to be a better mommy.
That's so sweet. I love it. Well, thank you for all of that, Melissa. That was really
Yeah.
just helpful and insightful and appreciate your wisdom that you shared. Well, now at the end of the episode, I'd like to ask some fun questions. So let's
Okay.
start with this one. What are you reading, watching, or listening to these days?
Okay, so I usually am reading, I try to read something like smart for my brain.
Yeah.
So I'm reading, I put brought oh, The Big Leap. It's a really good
Okay.
professional, like personal development book on like kind of challenging yourself to the next level. But personally, I love listening to like romantasy novels.
Okay.
I just finished the Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. And so these are like huge, like each audiobook is like 40 plus hours, and
Oh,
there's five of
wow.
them. So it's like a
Okay.
very big investment of my life. And then it ended, and now I feel like a little bit lost. That's where I'm at. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Fun. Yeah, I always get lots of
I
recommendations
bet. That's a
from
good
asking this
question.
question. So I like it.
I like that.
I am a new to audiobook. So I
Mm,
honestly have only ever listened to three audiobooks and
okay.
I just listened to my first fiction one for my book club recently because I couldn't
Nice.
find the actual book at the library and it was a
Uh-huh.
different experience, but I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I can try this.
Yeah, I do both. I like kind
Okay.
of go back and forth because I like to listen if I'm like doing chores or
Yes.
like on a walk maybe or like just to, when I'm doing stuff. But then like before bed I like to sit down and like read it. So I'm like now have bought most of my books as multiple versions and I've just come
Okay.
to peace with that because I'm like, hey, I'm reading. This is my hobby. Like
Right.
this is okay. If I have to like learn it though, I have to read it. So
Okay.
audiobooks more like entertainment. If it's like something
Gotcha.
I need to learn, I have to like look at
Yeah.
I need to write in a book.
Yes. Whenever I have a nonfiction book, I always have a pen or a
Oh yeah.
highlighter or, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Because, like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the learning brain
Yes,
for sure.
exactly.
Fun. Well, next question. What is a product, service, or practice that makes your life easier?
Okay, this is kind of a silly one, but this is for all the women out there that have like, if you have really thick, coarse, poofy, unruly hair, okay? So I have, if you're watching, I have very nice curls that I do not curl my hair. This would actually take me hours to do. But I discovered a year or two Robe curls. So
Okay.
basically, it's kind of like a robe tie. I
Okay.
actually
Like a
buy one that has a little
silky
line on
kind
it.
of
Yeah,
feel.
yeah. It's like
Okay.
a silky like wand, I guess.
Okay.
And so at night, I put it on my head and then you wrap the hair around it and then I wake up and I take it off. And I usually have to fix a couple pieces, but it looks like this.
Yeah. Nice. Your
So
hair is beautiful.
thank you. So I love the look and I don't have to spend any time on it. And so I
Nice.
feel like, especially since I'm on camera a lot, or just want to feel put together sometimes, but don't want to spend an hour on my
Right.
hair. That feels really
Right.
boring.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite life hacks.
Oh,
But I've had friends try it that have different hair texture and not have the same results. So like
okay.
you have to grow very unruly hair that you can't really do anything else with. And then it's a little bit life changing when you find this hack.
Nice, nice. Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I am all about just, yeah, like things while you sleep or just like how can
Yes.
I get ready quickly and simply in the morning.
Yeah.
So my hair is naturally curly and I will not straighten it
It's
because I'm
beautiful.
like,
Yeah.
oh, thank
Don't
you.
mess
I'm just
up those
like, it will
curls.
take too long. There's no way I want to
Yes.
spend that time every day or a couple days a week. Like,
Yeah,
nope.
I'd rather just read or do something else, right? Or
Yes.
go play or do yeah, I don't want to
Yes.
spend a lot of time. But sometimes I'll get up, I'll do this, and then I wake up and then I'll put it in a ponytail to go to the gym to
Mhm.
like a 5:30 a.m. class. And people will be like, you curled your hair for this? And I'm like, oh no, friends. No, did I not wake up,
Uh,
an hour to go to the gym to curl my hair? So where I'm like, no, I didn't. Like, thank you, but I did not wake up and do this.
Well, awesome. Well, I will look for those and put a link in the show notes in case
There you go.
listeners
Yeah.
want to take a look. Next one is what is a go-to meal that your family loves?
Mm. That's probably like a pasta. I think right now everyone's liking like spaghetti and meatball kind of thing.
Okay.
I have two very picky. So my go-to is pizza. Like I
Yeah.
would just eat pizza all the time. But 2 out of 3 of my kids don't like pizza.
Okay.
Part of me,
Interesting.
this is like, I feel like this is an F on my parenting report card. I'm like, what have I done wrong that they don't like pizza? Otherwise, that would be my go-to. But I have two very picky eaters and they'll eat pasta.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
probably our go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I started asking this question recently because I just feel like sometimes as moms we feel like we're in a rut with meals and,
Totally.
just need some ideas. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's
Awesome. Love it.
not the
And
most
pot
unique idea, but it works.
Yeah, but I love pasta can be so versatile. Like you can just
Yeah.
make it so many ways and everybody can kind of eat it how
Yeah.
they like kind of thing.
Yeah. Most of them like broccoli, so we'll do a lot of broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Well, thanks for that. Next question, what is God teaching you in this season?
Right now, God is teaching me like to wait for his timing, like trusting him in the
Mhm.
journey, which, like that's a hard thing to learn because I feel like God teaches you that by like making you wait for really big things, like, kind of being in that struggle for a lot longer than you would like to be. But I know there's a lot of beauty at the end. And also, I'm just trying to find all the beauty in the waiting because I think
Yes.
there is a lot of my brain wants to just skip to the end results. And so it's like slowing down, a lot of trust and timing, and yeah, like finding all the joy along the way.
Yes. I feel you. I think that is again a perfectionist thing of like, okay, God, this
Yeah.
is what I would like this timeline to
Yeah, and
look
I would like it on this
like.
day at this time, please. And like I have I already planned it all out for you. All you have to do is like press the button, right? Like, yeah, I
Right,
got
right. But yeah, I have found
this way
just
is better.
yeah, absolutely. Like we can look back and see how God was working, even though we had no
Yeah.
idea, and it felt like we were waiting for no reason, and
Mhm.
He was working even though we couldn't see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So, yeah, awesome. Well, Melissa, this has been so fun. I'm so grateful we were able to connect and have this conversation. So, last question is if listeners want to connect with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I would love to connect with any of your listeners. I am on Instagram and Facebook. It's at Confidently Mommin. So I'd love to see you there. And I also have a free guide that I'd love to offer to your listeners. It's called How to Get Kids to Listen. So it's like three of my best tips that work for these kind of kids. And then the great thing about that is if you get that the e-guide, you'll be on my email list. So you'll kind of enter into my world. And I do, a lot of different webinars or trainings or fun challenges or like lots of different stuff to support parents of these kids because we just need a lot of support. And so you'll be the first to know about all of that if you're on my email list. So my website is www.melissaschulz, it's schulz.com. And you can download my free guide right there.
Awesome. Well, I will be sure to link that so listeners can grab it. And
Perfect.
yeah, thank you for creating these resources and just all your wisdom and encouragement that you shared today.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been such a great conversation. I really appreciate you having me.
Oh, absolutely.